Okay, it's kind of warm in here. I think it's straight. Hello friends, Mermaid Megan here. It is day 6 of Vlogmas and also the last time that you should see me for a while filming with a plain wall as a backdrop, because today we are going to be redoing my filming setup slash TikTok space mermaid backdrop area in our new house. I've already put down some of the measurements of where my backdrop should be sitting. This wall's about 2 feet wider than the wall that I had my last setup on was. And so I think a few things may wind up being a little bit different, but we're gonna start with all of my plain blue fabric for the border, just in case anything shows. And then my trusty old backdrop is coming back out. And of course, all of this tangled mess is my fake seaweed, those fake pearl strands. There's also a fishnet in here that I got for an event a couple weeks back, and I think I'm going to incorporate that into the backdrop as well, but we'll see.
Okay, so this is why we should double check the framing before we start filming anything, because this clip before I cut it and sped it up was 45 minutes long, and you can't even see where I'm actually hanging things up. You can just see the middle. I mean, it's fine, you're not missing much. All I'm doing is nailing fabric into the wall, but it's still frustrating because I should have known better. And right about here is where I start dropping pins on the floor. I have to stop and pick them up because I personally don't really like the idea of stepping into the carpet and finding a pin with my foot. And these curtains were actually wider than I thought they were, so I went ahead and rehung that. It's gonna go behind my backdrop a little bit, but that's fine. I had it doubled over at the last house. If you watched my video where I packed up, you could see that the wall was kind of a crazy print, and so I liked having some extra coverage, but I don't need that here. Then I decided I should maybe put my pins in my shirt instead of trying to hold them in my mouth, because I kept dropping them, and that worked much better. These top pieces I actually folded in half, not because I need the coverage, because the wall is a really cool lavender, so it doesn't really show through, but I just don't want it hanging down super far behind the backdrop, because then I just worry that it's gonna get pulled down, like if I lean on it. Then I'm doing the same thing over here with this set of curtains, hanging up the plain blue one and then the sparkly one in front of it. And both of them are folded in half just so that they don't overlap so much. They're really just needed as a border anyways, so I don't need them to cover the whole wall.
Okay, it's kind of warm in here. But yeah, that is the whole frame basically set up, and now we get to put up the actual backdrop.
And now we unfold the backdrop, and surprisingly I got it right side up on my first try. I started with hanging it in the middle so that I knew it was spaced correctly, and also so I could try to figure out if it was straight or not. I swear I got it on there straight, but I don't know, the camera's just being weird. I couldn't seem to get the camera lined up, but when I looked at it, it looks straight in person.
I think it's straight. It's straight enough, at least. So that's the main part. I've had people say, oh, your setup looks so fancy, I couldn't do that. It's literally a bunch of random fabric and an Amazon backdrop. You totally can. But yeah, now we get to do the fun part, which is the decorating. Okay, I swear it's straight in person, it's fine. But I adjusted the camera up because I'm going to focus this next set of decorations right along here, along the top. If you've seen my TikToks, because it's the tall, like watching on your phone format, I like to have some interesting stuff going on up here to cover this white border, and that's really the only thing you're going to see in a video. Every now and then my YouTube videos, I'll like use the whole frame, but the white border on the sides is so narrow, I don't even really worry about it. You don't really notice it. And I might, I don't know, maybe get some more seaweed to put on there or something, or some of the shimmer fabric later, but I'm not worried about it. It's really rare that it even is an issue. And the one side has my Little Mermaid shelf of treasures in front of it, so I'm not worried about it.
So this shimmery fabric I like to use to cover the white border, and it just kind of reminds me of sea foam, or like the top of water when you're underwater and you look up. So I like to use it to cover that edge. I think it makes a really pretty border, and it has kind of a magical pixie dust kind of look to it. So I think it works really well with the mermaid theme with this backdrop. I just kind of twist it a little bit and try to hide the pins and fluff the fabric around so that it covers that whole area.
I'm kind of stumped as to what to do with the fishnet. So I think I'm gonna go with the seaweed and pearls, because I've always had those in my setup, and do those first. And then maybe see if I can figure out something that I like with the fishnet. Oh boy.
I used this fishnet and the seaweed and the pearls for a gig a few weeks ago and just threw everything back in my bag, and I should have detangled it earlier.
So I think since I've got two of these seaweed things now, what I want to do is 2 arches coming from the center out. So let's play with that.
This was surprisingly easy. I kind of just eyeballed it, and the first try got it where I wanted to. I did use 2 pins on the side to hold it in place because I didn't trust one to hold them.
So one of the seaweeds is definitely a little healthier than the other. I pulled a bunch of pieces off of this one to make a top about 1.5 years ago, and I didn't realize how much skinnier it was until now they're both hanging up. But I think I'll just keep an eye on when floral goes on sale at Michael's and maybe try to go get another one like this. Okay, let's do the pearls next. So I have 2 mint and 2 white ones, and the mint ones are longer, so I like to start with those first so I can kind of feel out how far they can drape and how I want to shape everything.
Again, I'm just kind of eyeballing, going from the center out. I added a new pin to hold these up, and just kind of eyeballing where I want them to hang and how droopy I want them to be. This area kind of frames my face when I'm filming, particularly for TikTok, since it's a vertical orientation. And so I don't want it to be too busy, but I do like it to look nice.
I think it might be done. I may just have an extra set of pearls to use as a prop for a little while. Let's add in my mermaid chair and the pillows and everything, and let's see.
Again, Megan, framing, this would look so much better if we could actually see the whole chair.
All right, I really like how this frames. I think we need to give it a little test run on a vertical orientation just to test it out for TikTok. So let's switch to that. All right, this probably looks a little familiar to some of you now, but I'm loving how this frames out. I think it's perfect. I do have a few more little knickknacks and things that I may add in later, but this is the main setup. This is it. I am so happy with how this turned out. I'll finish doing my knickknacks and a few more finishing tweaks as the weeks go on, but I'm so glad to have my shooting space back with a couple of new evolutions for the new space. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please remember to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more mermaid content or follow along with my Vlogmas adventures. Like and comment on this video so I know what kind of content you want to see from me in the future. And I'll see you all next time. Bye!